For the past 10 years, I've been conducting expeditions, documenting chronicles, and interviewing people pertaining to the subject of Sasquatch. With over 20 years worth of hardcore backcountry expedition experience into the most remote regions, I've tracked and studied various North American species that have had little to no exposure to civilization. In 2006, my team and I publicly showed 2 separate crystal clear Bigfoot videos I personally filmed, which we used to petition the Canadian government for species protection of Bigfoot. The petition was certified and tabled in the Canadian House of Commons. The media response was enormous, with hundreds of newspaper, television networks, radio stations, and websites that receptively presented our work across the globe. It was our goal to reach out to the masses about why our group was beginning the struggle for species recognition and protection.
Hello, my name is Todd Standing. I'm out here in the Rocky Mountains where I live, where I do all my wilderness research, all my wilderness study of various species, and I've actually videotaped, and where I take people out into the wilderness and show them and have them live interact with Sasquatch. So I'm out here just to go through something very interesting that in one of my Sasquatch videos that's quite famous, my video 5, it's been challenged that my head has been ridiculously superimposed into the Sasquatch's head that I filmed, which blew my mind, because you can take Andre the Giant's head and superimpose it into a baby's head and it'll match perfectly. You can move the parameters. I mean, this is obvious to anybody who knows anything about photographs. You can make it wider, taller, 200% large, 50% large, it's all the same. What you can't do, though, here in the Canadian Rocky Mountains this is a Rocky Mountain Douglas fir. They're everywhere. They're in the Sasquatch video. And as you can see, this Douglas fir, this little itty bitty Douglas fir, the pine needles, here's my little tape measure, that's 1 inch. Are not even 1 inch long, less than 3/4 inch. This is about a 4 foot tall conifer. This one being 8 feet, ironically enough, you'll have to, there again is 1 inch, and there's the needle, less than 1 inch. So these tiny trees, again, Rocky Mountain Douglas fir needles, are less than 1 inch. This over 100-foot tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, give me a moment to go grab a pine needle. Pine needle leaf from over 100-foot tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir. And as you can see, the 100-foot tree, just like the 8-foot tall tree, just like the 4-foot tree, all the pine needles, dead or alive, are less than 1 inch. Now, when we measure the proportions of this less than 1 inch pine needle of a Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, which is filmed right beside that Sasquatch, you are going to understand vividly, clearly why I found this morphing of my head into this giant, enormous Sasquatch absolutely laughable. So let's go through that right now. Here we are at the diagram of the morphing head that my head was morphed into. Something good that can come out of this is I do have to say that I've been pushed into doing an analysis of this head, and here we are with that analysis. So you can see in the top area by a pine needle, I have a little blue marker, and that blue marker is that pine needle is approximately 3/4 of an inch, Rocky Mountain pine needle, as I've discussed. And you'll see up, there's a little blue thing that's going to be approximately 1 inch. And then when you move down to the Sasquatch head, so I took that 1 inch and kept it at the same angle, and you can see that there with the red. So the red is just that angle brought down to the Sasquatch head. Then the yellow, which is straightened out, is just, I took that precise size and I just straightened it out so we could use it as a measurement. And then the green, what you'll notice is I've decreased the size by 10%, because the pine needle is significantly in front of the Sasquatch's head that you see there. So the gentleman who actually
had that lens. There's a big long story behind the whole lens of it that I smashed and took me a year to pay for, but that knew the exact parameters of that lens, analyzed this footage and told me that approximately 10 to 15 that Sasquatch, if you took that Rocky Mountain Douglas fir needle and pushed it back to where the Sasquatch head is, you should decrease the size by, he said, 10 to 15%. So to err on the side of conservative, I've decreased it by just 10%, and that's what the little green marker is. And then you can see the green markers that go all the way across. You'll notice that there are 14 of them. 14 1-inch green markers. That Sasquatch was enormous, in case you were wondering. He was absolutely gigantic. You'll see there that his nose alone is 3 inches wide, which is just totally amazing. The separation between his eyes is approximately 8 inches, and as you can see in this photograph of me, I've measured the width of my head, just using me as an example, because I don't want to give any credence to the what do I even call him? The idiot that morphed my head into a Sasquatch.
When I looked at this footage, it made me laugh. This shot is obviously handheld. It's clearly not on a tripod. If I wasn't filming, who was? And the answer is, I was. Nobody else has ever been that far out with me. Ever. Not even Survivor Man. It's in the hell middle of nowhere. So, I mean, and then it blew my mind to see that this Sasquatch, who I saw live in person, I was there looking at him, was over 700 pounds. I have his height measured at 8'6", because after I had filmed him and I came out of my position, he moved off and I saw him go under a branch of a tree. As I went past that branch, he didn't duck. His head nearly touched that branch. I reached up as high as I could reach, and his head had gone under that, so I knew he was approximately that tall. And width, he was enormous. He was a Sasquatch. He was Gigantopithecus. He was absolutely enormous. To put my little itty bitty 240 pound body in with his is absolutely asinine and ridiculous. I apologize, but I just don't know what else to say.